Hi, I'm Thijs, Technical Evangelist at Varnish Software, and welcome to another 2-Minute Tech Tuesdays. This episode is about request coalescing, which is a core feature in Varnish that is used to reduce the stress on origin servers when multiple requests are trying to fetch the same uncached content. So I'll, as usual, put 2 minutes on the timer. Let's get started. What happens when multiple clients request the same uncached content from Varnish? Does Varnish open up the same amount of requests to the origin and potentially destabilize the entire platform under heavy load? That is what we call the thundering herd effect. And luckily, Varnish is not sensitive to that, because Varnish identifies requests to the same uncached resource and queues them on a waiting list and only sends a single request to the origin. As the origin responds, Varnish will satisfy the entire waiting list in parallel. So that means there's no head of line blocking. Everyone gets the content at exactly the same time. So request coalescing will effectively merge multiple potential requests to the origin into a single request. And the advantages are pretty straightforward. There's less pressure on the origin server, less latency for queued clients, and overall a better performance and scalability. In terms of domains of application, long-tail content that doesn't always end up in the cache will benefit from request coalescing. But so do caches with limited storage that constantly need to evict objects to free up space. It also applies to short-lived content and maybe surprisingly to live video streaming over HTTP, where segments are constantly added to the live stream. This only applies to cacheable content. Uncacheable content cannot take advantage of request coalescing. And with uncacheable content, we mean content that uses set cookie headers or that has cache control response headers that deliberately bypass the cache. In that case, one needs to bypass the waiting list. And by doing so, we avoid potential serialization. And with serialization, we mean having items on the waiting list being processed serially rather than in parallel. This has a very detrimental effect on the performance and the quality of experience for the user, because in this case, there actually is head of line blocking. Luckily, the VCL language has provisions for that. And by setting uncacheable to true and assigning a TTL, you're basically making sure these uncacheable objects end up in the hit for miss cache. This is useful because it allows you to make the decision ahead of time to bypass the waiting list and to avoid serialization. That was 2 minutes. And that was request coalescing. I hope you appreciate this feature and realize what an impact it has in terms of performance on the origin when a lot of requests are targeted at the same uncached resource. So I hope you know when to use request coalescing and when to bypass the waiting list. I'll see you next Tuesday with yet another video explained to you in 2 minutes or less.